Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. So in the last episode of this series, we started working on a mini pallet system for my milling machine to be able to clamp down small parts for little small delicate milling. And I got some jobs coming up that I need this. And we've already got our actual pallet made, and if you're interested, you can go back and watch that previous video on how I made this if you're interested in making one for your mill. But once this part is made, the next thing that you need are actually some little clamps that you can clamp on here. And what I'm using as a model is your typical toe clamp, strap clamps, whatever you want to call them, that you would use on a milling machine. Now, this is a normal size one. This is actually a small one, but I want some that are much smaller. But I'm going to use this as a general guideline on how I'm going to do it. And to do it, I'm actually going to use some of these little small pieces of stock here. I've got some cold rolled steel. This is a 1/4 inch thick by 1/2 inch wide, and we're going to make some of these clamps. I'm going to make 4 each of 2 different sizes. I've got some that are 1.5 inches long and some that are 2 inches long, and we'll get in here and show you how we're going to do it. So again, this is your typical size toe clamp, and this is the stock we're going to make these out of. So again, it'll be much smaller and much more in line with the size and scale of this mini pallet. So you know, on a typical clamp here, you got this little ramp in the back, and they have little blocks that those lock into to get you your different heights. On these, you know, we're not going to be putting near as much pressure, hold down pressure, as you would with a, you know, a 1/2 inch bolt. So we don't really need as much in the back. And basically all we're going to do there is we're going to use the same 1024 hardware that we've been using already, or we're going to use. But I'm just going to drill and tap a hole in the back, and we can put this in here, and you can put one of these little jack screws in here, jack it up and down to get your height where you want it. So this will be our height adjustment instead of putting this in. And of course, you can use different length screws to get that clamp at different heights. And then the other part, you know, we need to put a slot in here so that you can put that. That'll be where the screw will go down through here and engage into the table here, into the mini pallet. That's 1024 tapped holes in here. And then on the front, I also want to kind of mill in some slope here or whatever, so that we have, you know, it's not quite as bulky in the front. So you can get in there and also get into some tighter corners. So basically 3 operations: drill and tap this hole in the back, mill a slot in, and then mill the profile on the nose. And to start with, I think I'm going to start in the back. We're going to do the holes, the tapped holes first, and we'll set the mill up to do that for these real quick. So we're going to be putting these in the vise. I've got some parallels up underneath my stock. I won't have them sticking out. Well, they'll be sticking out a little bit for this first operation, but not quite that far. But I need to get the center of this part basically centered up on the mill. And to do that, I got an edge finder in here, and we're just going to find the edges, the 2 edges here, use the half functional DRO, and that should navigate us to the very center. So let's get that done real quick. So we'll come in with the edge finder. We're going to find this outside edge right there. I'm going to zero my axis on the DRO on the digital readout. I'll come up. I'm going to go to the other side. We're going to do the same thing, find the edge. And then use the half functional DRO. Now over on the DRO, I'll hit the half button. It'll say select which axis. We'll go there. It's going to automatically divide that measurement in half, and I just want to go to 0 now on the DRO. Right there. Now back over here, we are right in the center of this piece of metal, which is right where we want to put those holes. I'm setting this up over here so I can basically just take a part in and out, and my setup be the same from one part to the other. So again, I have my parallels up underneath there. What I've got here, this is actually a Noga indicator arm. This is the big boy indicator arm. I usually use this to hold a camera, and this is actually my camera mount on the end, but it's a very rigid setup. So right now I'm actually just using it as a stop. They make several companies make a really nice stop for doing this, but I don't have one of those, but I'm just using what I got. But I did come in here off camera, measured off the end of this, went in 1/4 of an inch so that I'm drilling right there in the center of that, set my arm up on there so that I can do repetitive work here pretty quickly, and I will go ahead and start drilling and tapping these holes. So we're going to start by just hitting this with a center drill. Let's see, put it back in high gear. And I just want to put a little point on there, just a little touch for it to get started on. Then we'll drill this with a number 25 drill bit. Put a little, this is some Tap Magic, lubricate it. Next, I'm going to touch it real quick with a little countersink. And put our 1024 tap in here. Put it back down low range. This is a machine tap, so this is made for power tapping. That's different than a hand tap that you have to back out on. And we'll just, people ask about this. All I do is I put enough pressure on there for it to get started, let it tap through, then I'll reverse it and let it come back out. Once it gets started, I'm not putting any pressure on the quill. So let it just go down on its own. It's through, and let it back out. All right, with that, take that one out, put the next one in, go up against my stop, and I'm ready to do it again. And I won't bore you with this. We'll go ahead and knock the rest of them out and come back for the next step. So the next part I want to mill is this 30-degree angle, and to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tilt the head 30 degrees so that I can just come in here side to side. And to tilt the head on this machine, they got to loosen up 4 bolts around. Loosen, not tighten. Here we go. Got to loosen these 4 bolts around here. You know, you want these to be loose, but still have just at least a little bit of tension on there so the head doesn't go flopping around. Let me get the ones on the back. And with that done, there's a little worm gear in here, and I can turn that right here. Wrong way. And I'm just going to dial it in on the scale here. This angle is not by any means critical. I want it to be around 30 degrees. So this scale is going to be close enough for what I'm doing. You know, if this was a critical measurement, we'd have to get out here and verify these angles once we got it on there with some ways to check that, but not necessary for what we're doing. And there the milling machine head is set up on 30 degrees. Looks kind of funny that way, doesn't it? But that's what we want. That's the nice thing about these milling machines, is you can do all kinds of crazy setups like this. So again, I want my part to stick out the end, but this time instead of using that stop, it's going to be in the way for the milling. So what I've done is I've just made a little gauge, and again, this is not critical. These measurements, you know, they need to be close. If they're off a few, from one to the other. No big deal. But what I have done is I have just made a little gauge here out of a bolt where I've got this thing sticking out where I want. I can put that up against the jaw, push that out flush, and then just tighten my vise up. And that should get me where I can repeat these pretty well from one part to the other without any major problems. So that's how we're going to do it. Let's get in here. We're going to mill those flats. We're using a little 4-flute Niagara cutter here, 3/4 inch diameter. This is another one of the ones that Dennis Nolan was kind enough to acquire for us from a donation from Niagara Cutter. But what we're going to do now is we got that angle on there. I'm just going to raise this up until it just touches off. So let me pull that out toward the end a little bit. And now what I want to do is raise my table up 1/8 of an inch, and that should make the cut go down that deep. So let me zero my Z on the digital readout, raise it up 125. About right there. I'm eyeballing down through there, and that looks about right. All right, let's see, now we want to stop the cutter. Let me pull this one out. Use my little gauge here again. And let's do another one. Rinse and repeat, guys. Let's knock all these out. All right, next step here is I want to do the same angle on both sides, and for this I've got them ganged together. I've got 4 of them in there at one time, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come in, we'll touch off, raise up 125 thousandths, and skim across them. So let's do it. Once that's done, I'll flip them over. I'll probably do it off camera. Same process on the other 4 as well. All right, we touched off there. Zero my Z-axis. Come up 125. Which is about right there. And put a little oil on there. And come on across. All right, I'm going to flip those over and we'll do it again. So there you go with the finished noses on the front of these, and again that kind of mimics the larger clamp set. We're ready to go ahead and put the slots in these clamps now. And I've got a little 4-flute carbide end mill. This is a 7/32 diameter, which is just big enough for that number 10 screw to come in and out without having too much slop in there. So what I've done is I've come over here and I've got where I want to start the hole right now, and I've zeroed out my digital readout on 0 there. And I've already come in here and kind of calculated it. I want the slot, I want to move the table 290 thousandths, and that'll basically make the end of the slot about a 1/2 inch from this end and about a 1/2 inch from the other end. And you know, these measurements are not critical. It's just a slot for putting a screw in, but we want to get them as close as we can. So I'm put a little dab of oil on here just to help things go. And I've got this in here with, I got my parallels up under here, And when the cutter goes through the bottom, the parallels are going to be in the way. I'm going to leave the parallels in right now for probably the first 2 passes, which will be about 100 thousandths each. Then I'll take the parallels out, and that last 50 thousandths will plow through without any support underneath them, so that I just don't tear my parallels up. So with that, let's get in here. We're going to come up and touch off. Right there. And zero my Z. And I'm going to go down 100 thousandths. This is a center drilling end mill. So no problem plowing down like that. And I'm not too worried. The depth doesn't have to be exact here, guys. And we're going to go 290 thousandths. Right there. I'm going to go to 200 thousandths on my depth. Go back to 0. I'm going to knock my parallels out, and we'll do the last 50 thousandths. 1/4 inch thick, so it's 250 thousandths thick. So I should be through the bottom now. I'm just going to go down a little bit more, and we'll go back to 290. Actually, I'm going to probably just go a little bit, clean that edge up so that it's all the way through. And there we go. That should be everything. Come back up. A little squirt of air. Clean that up, and we have our slot. So there's our finished clamp. Let's go ahead and knock the other ones off. I'll do the other ones off camera. So there you go, guys. I got all my little toe clamps made now. Everything's been slotted. After I cut the slots, I just took a little deburring tool and went through here and just kind of deburred the inside of those, just to make sure they were nice and free and clear. And here's how you use them. You just take a set screw turned upside down the back. That becomes your adjustable part in the back to clamp things down. You drop another one down into a hole here. I got a little washer up underneath there, and tighten it down with an Allen wrench, and you know, it will nicely secure something to the pallet. You know, this is for light milling. This is not for super heavy duty milling. This is doing on small parts, but it's very effective and sure gets the job done. So I've got a nice set now, and I'm real happy with the way this turned out. Again, after I started making these, I found you can actually buy these online. I think Little Machine Shop has them, and some viewers sent me some other links, but they're fairly easy to make, and they're fairly inexpensive to make. And if you got a few minutes, you can knock some of these out and save yourself a little bit of money and have a fun little project on the mill at the same time. So there you go. We're about done with this. And then finally, guys, just to keep everything nicely organized, you know, I got me a little plastic bin. This is actually one that I bought the other day that was full of an assortment of set screws, socket set screws. I was needing a few sizes, and I went into the Fastenal store, and they had a little assortment set there on sale, and I just bought the whole set and took them out of this and put them in my small parts organizer, little metal drawers. And I had an extra plastic case, but you can pick these up at, you know, about anywhere, Walmart or whatever. But nicely organized there. I've got me an assortment of different lengths of 1024 set screws. Here's some washers to go on there. Got places for my 2 different size toe clamps, and then just I threw an Allen wrench in here just so that I wouldn't have to go searching for one. So now I've got everything I need. Whenever I get ready to use this, I just go pull the kit, the set. This little plastic bin will stay with the actual mini pallet in a drawer in my cabinet, and I'm ready to go. Well, there you go, guys. Another little project knocked out, and with this project complete, now I can actually move on, and I have a project that we're going to use this mini pallet set for. So there you go, a quick, easy project that everybody can do. If you got a milling machine, you can make you a mini pallet set, and I highly recommend it. Again, particularly if you're doing small stuff, need something to be able to just clamp down things, to do little small delicate pieces. This is a nice little trick. And once again, I want to give a big thanks to Tom Lipton over at Ox Tools. Check out his YouTube channel if you haven't already. But this was actually a project that at least I saw first on Tom's website. I don't know if he came up with the idea himself or whether he borrowed it from someone else, but regardless, it's a brilliant idea, and this is going to be a very value added piece to my shop. So thank you, Tom, for bringing along a good idea, and everybody can go make one. Thanks a lot, guys. If you like this, share it with your friends on social media. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Leave me some comments and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll talk to you later.